Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Danielle, aka Stitcherista here on YouTube, and today is Friday, January 28th, and it's time for another update, but I didn't do any stitching last night because I worked until 9:30. Yeah! Yesterday wound up being just a long work day. Wound up, the job didn't end, and we didn't find out. I didn't find out it was going to go late until 6 o'clock. And I found out that they were going to go until 8 o'clock my time, and I was like, geez, fucking Christ, great. So that means I'm not having dinner with Bill, not seeing him. I saw him for like 2 minutes. And then I got to let everybody else know and be like, thank you for working late. Like, my thing is, I don't mind working late. If I know ahead of time, I can mentally prepare for it. We had no indication. What I don't understand about attorneys is if you know it's going to go that long and you know they fucking knew it. If you know it's going to go that long, let the court reporting firm know so they can let us know. You know, I would at least been able to mentally prepare for that. And so I'm eating dinner at fucking 10 o'clock because I refuse to eat dinner at my desk. I fucking refuse. I hate it. I need to find some good snacks, like when that situation comes about. I'm like, a granola bar, like something where I'm not ravenous then at 10 o'clock, because that's what happened last night. So, yeah, the job ended at 8 o'clock, but I was doing a whole bunch of fucking shit that I normally do at the end of a job. And so, worked until 9:30. 9:30. And had started at 10 that morning. Yeah. So no stitching was happening. I did catch up on the reboot of Sex and the City, and was just watching YouTube and other things, and I couldn't fall asleep till like 2:30. Now today, my job does not start until 4. Yeah, I know. It's supposed to be from 4 till 7. And I've already looked at the notice, like it's a wrongful termination suit for like somebody's job. So not going to be, you know, highly technical. It should be all right. I'm actually secretly hoping that it cancels in the next 2 hours, because we've had that happen before. We're going to have Chinese for dinner tonight because Bill called and he was really busy at work. He usually calls me in the morning. He didn't call me till like 1. And he said, what are we doing for dinner? And he was like, you want me to stop at the store and pick up something? And I'm like, yeah, surprise me. And he's like, oh, yay. Okay, well, then we're fucking getting Chinese. That's what we're doing. So he was like, yeah, that's fine. So, yeah, no stitching. I'm hoping, because it's only 2 o'clock here, I'm hoping to get this video done, processed, and maybe I can sit down and do some stitching. Because I really want to get this piece done so I can get onto my smalls for my journal. I spent a little bit of time when I had little breaks throughout the day, and I was looking for like smalls on Etsy for Valentine's Day. Oh my God, there are so many cute ones, and they're like $1.50. Like, yeah, it's gonna, just wait. Okay, now I did get some more vellum. So remember I said, oh, I'm really gonna try to get the vinyl. I just love the design of the vellum, and this is the same place that I ordered the other vellum from, so I'm pretty sure I have it linked on my link tree, the Etsy store. But I really was very, very picky this time in my opinion, picking out some really good ones. Because I find that I like the darker ones because they show up better on the Q-snaps. Okay. Oh, she put like some protective paper in there. That was cool. All right. So I got 2 sets. One of them is like roses, which, don't you just love that? Are you kidding me right now? And for an 11 by 11 Q-snap, 1 sheet of, you know, 8 by, I don't know if this is 8 by 8, 8.5 by 11. 1 sheet will cover all 4 of the clamps. And so this, oh, I love that one, right? So all of these came in 1 set. Now this next one I really love. Oh, love that one. Oh my God, right? Oh, protective paper. I really like this part. Now wait till you see these. Now I think there are 2 sheets. No, maybe not. For each color. Ooh, right? Yeah. Yeah, this one's like orange. That one looked a little bit different. And then like a beautiful blue. All the same pattern, I think. No, it's not the same pattern. I'm a big fat liar. I think those were like repeats. And then some blue ones. Really like that one. My favorite, the favorite vellum that I have, and I'll show you again because I don't, are the ones that I got. Now I do have this one for Valentine's Day, so I might use that one when I go to do my Valentine. But some of the black and white ones I have, like, love that. But I find I like the, I love this one too. I find I like the ones that are darker on the outside better. Like especially this one. Well, not that. You can't even see that. Like, look at that one. Yeah. She has a lot of vellum paper on her Etsy store. And they come in sets. So I will enjoy doing those and using my new little corner cutter that I have to get the corners all nice and neat. So yeah, I have no stitching to show you. Did nothing yesterday. Oh, and the podcast that I've been listening to is called Something Was Wrong. So I have it linked in my link tree. You can go there and there's a whole bunch of links. Like, I have a whole lot of stuff there. But what's really nice about Linktree and why I'm so glad someone suggested it to me is that I can edit the links and just have the link in the description box. So like on last week's video where the link never changes for my Linktree, now you can click on that link a week ago and you'll get all the new links. Do you know what I mean? Like, I changed the links on their server, on their website. Okay, and I see I didn't like curl that piece of hair. Yeah, I have a Lang, like, I don't even know what the fuck it's called. It's not like a regular curling iron. I actually like my regular curling iron better, I think. It gives more defined curls, but my hair has a mind of its own some days, and today is like one of those days, but that's okay. It is snowing here right now. We are due to get like 1 to 3 inches of snow tonight. It's Friday. I don't really care. Don't have anywhere to go tomorrow, so that's fine. We are going to do a true crime story today because that's all really I have to share with you guys. I don't have anything. Like I said, no stitching and no purchases besides the vellum. Although I had placed an order with Seraphim Fabrics a while ago and it shipped. It's all 18 count Aida. So probably we'll have that next week. So can't wait to get that. Okay. So like I said, we're going to do a true crime story today. So today's story is Heather Arnold. Heather, what did you do? Not something good, because she wouldn't be in a story, right? So the picturesque town of Westbury in England's West Country is hardly the kind of place where you would expect to find a brutal double homicide. Okay then, starting off coming in hot, right? It is even less likely that such an atrocity would be inspired by the frustrated passions of a petite, middle-aged math teacher. Never underestimate people. Seriously, like. And yet, that is exactly what happened in the Wiltshire parish in the spring of 1986. It started with an act of kindness. We'll see about that. Heather Arnold was 50 years old, a demure married school teacher who taught at Kingsdown Comprehensive School. One of Heather's fellow teachers was Paul Sutcliffe, who also happened to be a neighbor of hers. Paul and his wife, Jeannie, lived just 300 yards from Heather and her husband. At 39 years of age, Jeannie had just presented Paul with a surprise addition to their family, an adorable little girl who they named Heidi. The couple already had 3 other children. And having a child at, 39 and 40, that can be, yeah. Okay, the Sutcliffe family was a tight-knit unit, keeping mostly to themselves. Paul and Jeannie were on affable terms, so good terms with Heather and her husband, but they were acquaintances rather than close friends. That situation was to change in 1985. So when did this start? I don't know. 1985, when Heather's husband, Heather's husband, the school teacher. That situation was to change in 1985 when Heather's husband told her out of the blue that he wanted to end their marriage. He then moved out of their home. Within weeks, Heather would receive a petition for divorce from his attorneys. And I'm guessing that Heather's husband found somebody else, because it's none of that stuff just happens out of the blue, right? So Heather was devastated by this turn of events, so much so that she started missing work, something that she had never done in the past. A marriage ending is devastating. I don't care who ends it, why it ends. The whole thing is incredibly sad and heartbreaking. Yeah. So the prospect of starting over again as a 50-year-old divorcee was intimidating to her. Yeah. I can't imagine now at 50. Well, I'm not 50 yet. I'm going to be 48 in May, so I still have 2 years. But my dad got married to his 3rd wife and he was 50. So never say never, right? Look, Jill's grandmother has a boyfriend. Yeah, found that out the other day. She was like, oh yeah, my Nana's boyfriend. And I'm like, back up. What? Your grandmother has a boyfriend? Her grandmother was like 70. Go Nana. That's what I say. You go. Right? So it was made worse by her belief that she was the cause of her husband's desertion, that she was unlovable, that she was a bad person. Yes, you would think that if your husband asked you for a divorce, that there's something inherently wrong with you. But no. Ladies, no. So none of this was true, of course, but it did not prevent her from sinking into a dark depression. Her only buttress against this despair was the sympathetic ear of her friend and colleague, Paul Sutcliffe. Can you see where this is going to go? Yep. Paul and his wife went out of their way to support Heather through her crisis. They were her shoulder to cry on, the friends who listened to her angry rants, who provided comfort, advice, reassurance. They invited Heather to have dinner with their family, to join them in family events. Remember, they have 4 kids now. This at least seemed to bring Heather out of her funk. She enjoyed the companionship and interacting with the children, especially baby Heidi. Unbeknownst to the Sutcliffes, there was another dynamic at play here, one that posed a direct and present danger to their family. Heather had come to envy the life they had and the obvious love they shared. We knew that something was awry was going to happen. She had begun to imagine herself in Jeannie's role, a wife to Paul and a mother to the children. Oh, girlfriend. She had become infatuated with her coworker and had, by extension, come to resent his wife, a woman who had been nothing but kind to her. That resentment would continue to fester until it became the entire focus of Heather Arnold's life. Her wayward husband was a distant memory now. Heather was looking to a future in which Jeannie was gone and she and Paul were together. She was actively plotting to make that dream a reality. Paul doesn't love you. What are you doing? Yet, even accounting for Heather's befuddled state of mind, even with her darkly obsessive desires, few could have anticipated what happened next. It remains almost beyond comprehension. Oh boy. Well, she murders somebody. I'm guessing she murders, who's the wife? Jeannie, we're going to say. So on the evening of Wednesday, April 30th, 1986, Paul Sutcliffe went for a walk with his 3 older children, leaving his wife at home with the baby. Oh my God. They returned about an hour later and walked in on a bloodbath. Jeannie was lying on the floor of the sewing room, her face battered beyond recognition, her throat slit from ear to ear. The baby was in her carry crib, also dead, also mutilated. Why? Why would you also kill the baby? Baby had nothing to do with this. That poor baby. She had been struck on the head with some heavy object and then hacked across the throat. The fuck? In desperation, Paul tried to staunch the wounds, but it was too late for that. The bodies were already cool to the touch. In the midst of his anguish, Paul somehow managed to hustle his children outside and away from the carnage, and then he called the police. I can't even fathom coming home and walking in on something like that. I cannot even imagine, what? Westbury, as we have already stated, is not the kind of place where such crimes occur. It was tempting to conclude that this was the work of some wandering miscreant who had committed the double murder and then put distance between himself and his handiwork, but if that were true, what was the motive, right? Nothing had been taken from the home, and Jeannie had not been sexually assaulted. So why then had she and her baby been killed? The answer was in the level of overkill. Jeannie had been struck at least 10 times with what investigators believed was the back end of an axe. Those injuries would have been sufficient to kill her, and yet the killer had still hacked through her throat. Jesus! Oh my God! I can't. He or she had then had enough bile left over to target an innocent 18-month-old. That pointed to someone with a personal motive, someone local. But who could have possibly done such a thing? As detectives started questioning friends, family, and colleagues, they heard the same story over and over again, that Paul and Jeannie were kind and likable people, so what the fuck, right? They were salt of the earth. They didn't have an enemy in the world. With that avenue of investigation apparently cut off, the police started working another, the recovery of the murder weapon. The killer had apparently arrived at the Sutcliffe residence carrying the axe and had taken it with him or her. He or she probably still had it in their possession, but the police were equally sure that the suspect would try to dispose of the weapon as quickly as possible. Most probably they would try to dispose of it with their garbage. Okay. And so it fell to 4 police officers to go undercover as garbage collectors and to ride the dump trucks while keeping an eye out for anything suspicious. Fortunately for them, this would be a short assignment. On the very first day, one of the cops was approached by the Sutcliffe's neighbor, Heather Arnold, and handed a plastic shopping bag for disposal. That bag was found to contain some ash and several fragments of wood, which turned out to be the remnants of an axe handle. Wow. With the discovery of this evidence, officers were immediately sent to Heather Arnold's home to place her under arrest. They arrived to find the place empty. Their suspect fled. But Heather had not gone on the lam. She had driven to her daughter's house in Staffordshire, about 100 miles away. There she blurted out a confession and handed over the axe head which she had brought with her. Her daughter, who was a lawyer, then convinced her to give herself up to the police. Heather Arnold faced a barrage of abuse when she appeared for trial at Bristol Crown Court in April of 1987. A 150-strong crowd had gathered to barrack and jostle the former schoolteacher and to pelt her with rotten fruit and other objects. Wow! Can you imagine being pelted with fruit and stuff when you go into court? Inside the courtroom, Arnold entered a not guilty plea. According to her, she had had nothing to do with the murders of Jeannie and Heidi Sutcliffe. In an attempt to explain away her disposal of the axe, Arnold said that she had found it in her garage after the murders. Since she was aware that police were looking for just such an implement, she had panicked, believing that she might be implicated because of her connection to the Sutcliffe family. She had therefore decided to dispose of it. You're right. Unfortunately for Heather, there was forensic evidence to prove that the axe in her possession was in fact the murder weapon. Flakes of red paint on the axe head were similar to flakes found on Jeannie Sutcliffe's body. Those flakes were microscopically matched to paint from Heather Arnold's car. It took the jury over 7 hours to return a unanimous guilty verdict on 2 counts of murder. Heather Arnold collapsed as the sentence of life imprisonment was announced. But Arnold was not done with the legal system yet. In 1996, she launched an appeal, now admitting, all these years later, that she had murdered Jeannie and Heidi, but claimed diminished responsibility. According to Arnold, she had become obsessed with Paul and had grown to hate his wife Jeannie, who she hoped to depose in his affections. That was the motive behind the murder, but she could not remember any details of the actual killing since she had blacked out. Yeah, right. The Court of Appeals dismissed her case in February 1996. Dude, no. No, 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 no. That's not going to fly. And it obviously did not, right? Okay. Interesting little story. Like I said, the two motives for people killing: love, money. Yeah. All right, so how are we going to continue to unfuck ourselves today? Hopefully we're not working until 9:30 p.m. Yeah. All right. And this is so very true. You just can't keep responding in ordinary ways if you are truly out to live an extraordinary life. Wow, I love that. Putting that in, like I said, putting this stuff into practice is a lot harder than you think because, you know, we are all ingrained in our habits when you think about it, like ingrained in the way we do things. So I don't know. That's true though. That's very true. It's like the definition of insanity, doing the same thing day after day and expecting a different result. Not going to happen. And Bill and I, it was so funny yesterday because he came home and I was telling him about, my mom had sent me that video about the woman that made vintage lampshades, and she was like, wow, I'd love to be able to do something like that. And I just went like on this long diatribe of, you know, I think everyone's creative. You just have to find what you do. And nothing big, nothing momentous or monumental happens with one big fell swoop. It is the result of tiny little steps done every single day consistently. And I went off like on this big thing, and he's like, honey, you don't have to yell, I'm right here. And he's like, well, you're fired up today. And I said, because I'm tired of people saying, oh, I can't cross stitch. I can't do this. I can't do that. Yes, you can. You're just not making time for it. Nothing done in this world of any significance, in my opinion, is done in big leaps and bounds. It is done in tiny things, done every single day. Think about flossing and brushing your teeth and washing your face. You do that every single day, you don't get gum disease. You have a nice face. Think about growing your hair, losing weight. Increments, tiny increments. Stitch for 10 minutes a day. You will eventually finish a project. It took me 4 years. It took me 4 months when I would do the Mirabilias. 4 months every single day stitching. Stuff takes time. I'm just like, I don't know what, I just got that hair up my ass yesterday. Just tired of people wanting stuff done yesterday when you haven't even done step one. He was like, honey, take a breath. Because I said, gave him the example, like fixing up the boat. It's been a million tiny pieces of him out there doing stuff. Yeah. Reading a book. You got to read it page by page. I have read 7 books this month already. Let's fucking go on that. I am 3 books ahead of schedule to reach 60 this year because that's my reading goal. Small increments, people, done consistently. Okay, enough. I'm going to get off my soapbox about that. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.